this meeting to order. Bixby Board of Education regular meeting Thursday, June 8th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Located at Bixby Public School Administrative at 109 North Armstrong Street, Bixby, Oklahoma. The meeting is live streamed as always at our bixbyps.info/YouTube. Call meeting the roll call. Matt?
Here.
Amanda?
Here.
Julie?
Here.
Christie? The chair's here. All right, comments from the public?
We'll jump.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna jump.
Yeah,
So.
Well, and I just want to clarify, Mr. President, that we're not live streaming today. We are recording it, but our camera operator has come down sick, so.
All right.
She went home, but it is on, so speak loudly so that it picks it up, but we will post that later for the public to watch.
Very good. Well, at this time, given just the speakers that we have here, we're gonna jump. So we're going to shift to 5.1.
All right, board members, I sent you some notes last week about where we were relative to the lease purchase arrangement. That is the groundwork for the new Bixby administration building. And so we have John Weidman, correct?
Weidman, yes.
Weidman, who informed me earlier that he has 7 students, 7 grandchildren at West Elementary and Intermediate. So
Right.
he's the reason we had to add on his family for this. But this,
I also have a music teacher there.
oh,
Daughter-in-law.
okay, there you go. But John, thank you very much for coming. I know that there is some complexity involved in putting these pieces together, so we respect your experience and knowledge here in helping us navigate this a little bit unusual circumstance with this lease purchase.
Okay, so yes, John Weidman, I'm bond counsel for the Bixby Industrial Authority, which is an authority that's gonna be created on Monday night in order to do this transaction. So the city of Bixby has engaged us to do the transaction. And what that means is we draft all the documents, and then we put an opinion on the back of the note that says it is exempt from federal income taxation and is done in accordance with the state constitution and statutes of Oklahoma. So that's our role. This transaction is done because, as you know, the school district can't incur debt without a vote. If you have a project that you'd like to get accomplished, a public trust of the city of Bixby can incur debt, can go out and become indebted for 10 years and allow that entity to build your building. So you want an administration building built right just down the hall, right there down the street on your land, which is where you have to build all your buildings on school land. What this structure does is you will take your land, ground lease to the Bixby Industrial Authority. They will build the building, and when I say they will build the building, they fund the building. You guys will build the building. You're gonna have to do all the bidding and contracting and determining what kind of building you wanna build and all that. All of that is with the school district. The industrial authority will fund it, pay for those items that you say to pay for. So it's a $6 million, I think it's a $6 million budget, it's thereabout. $6 million will go into a construction fund with the trustee, Bank of Oklahoma. You guys will go out and bid your building, hire your contractors, then send those invoices to Bank of Oklahoma to be paid. They will pay them on behalf of the Bixby Industrial Authority. So the Bixby Industrial Authority will own the building on this ground lease, and they will lease it back to you after construction. And then you will make lease payments from your building fund or any other source of funds that you have back to the Bixby Industrial Authority. And as you make those lease payments, you're acquiring a portion of the building. So at the end of 10 years, you own the building. Now, that's maybe, I don't want to say worst case scenario, that is the scenario that would last the longest. If future, you were to go out and authorize general obligation bonds for the purpose of building an administration building, acquiring an administration building, then you would issue those bonds and pay off this debt, and you would own it. And this transaction would go away. So, in order to finance this transaction, you approve the ground lease, the Bixby Industrial Authority, the lease purchase back from them. There's a tax regulatory agreement where you make certain covenants about how you're going to use that building in connection with your governmental purpose, as opposed to renting it out to some private company. And there's a development agreement between you and the industrial authority where you basically say you're going to build a building for the industrial finance. So those are the 4 agreements that will come to you. At closing, which I think the school wants to close this in June, so we're looking at June closing. Hence the quick nature of this meeting with the Bixby Industrial Authority forming on the 12th. And then the financial advisor is here, Municipal Finance Services, will go out and take bids for the sale of this note from the Bixby Industrial Authority for $6.4 million.
Probably end up being a little less, but
Little less. That's not to exceed $6.4 million. They'll go out and have talked to several banks. They'll get a bank to buy the whole note. Now that bank may participate with somebody else, but the key is that they will come with the $6.4 million and an interest rate. So there's a resolution in front of you tonight that, if passed, would authorize your president and superintendent and council to review the documents, the forms of which have been presented to you, and to look at the bids that come in. I think they're scheduled on the 22nd of July with an interest rate. And that's really the only thing that's getting bid is what is the rate of interest. And if that is acceptable, then the president will be able to execute and deliver documents for closing without coming back to this board. As long as it's within the parameters of $6.4 million. And you guys like the interest rate. If something happens to the interest rate, it goes to 10%, then obviously we just don't close. Okay, we come back to this board, months later, I guess. So, are there any questions?
For the board's information, the city council will be meeting on Monday night, again, as you said, and we'll be, I guess, approving all of the same documents, right?
They'll approve these documents. They'll also approve the document, the note indenture, and the security agreement, other documents in connection with the issuance of the note. But there's an indenture between the industrial authority and BOK's trustee that goes through how they're going to make payments on the note to the note holder, how they're going to accept payments from the school district under the lease, and how they're going to run the construction fund and pay for the construction of the project.
Also, for the board's information, Eric Nelson, who is our attorney, or our attorney who specializes in this with RFR, and John have spent considerable time just talking through this, and so Eric has laid eyes on all of these contracts and agreements as well.
Right, and he will also be given an opinion for your benefit that everything is in accordance with the state statutes.
Any other questions? Okay, 5.1, discussion and possible board action to adopt the resolution relating to the Bixby Industrial Authority Lease Revenue Note, Series 2023 Bixby Public Schools Project. The note in aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $6,400,000, approving and authorizing execution of a ground lease agreement, development agreement, and tax regulatory agreement, each by and between the authority and Independent School District Number 4, Tulsa County, Oklahoma, Bixby Public Schools, authorizing and directing the execution of such other documents related to the transaction and containing other provisions related thereto. I make a motion, we approve 5.1.
Second.
Any other last questions before we vote? All right, call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, now we're going to jump to 5.4.
And Marcella, can you open that one for us, please? That attachment.
When you asked me earlier if I was going to say anything, I was thinking of the leases. I know John will handle that. I forgot that we had our contract on here as well, so I'll be up here in the event you have questions, but.
Okay. So it's my understanding that the city works with,
So, one of the reasons why we put a contract on your agenda, this really just goes through June 30th, because we're anticipating closing this debt on June 30th. It's because as municipal advisors, we have to have certain disclosures and, an agreement in place so that I can give you all financial advice. And so we wanted to make sure, as I'm speaking with your, CFO, that I, have this agreement in place. So, because really, even though our relationship is with the city, we have a contract with them, an ongoing contract with them, the person I'm talking to the most about financial information is Mike Anthony. So, that's why we put this contract on your agenda tonight. We wanted to make sure that was in place. It, like I said, goes through June 30th, 2023 to cover the term of this, transaction. That we will be paid from the proceeds of, the lease with the industrial authority, so it really isn't a direct payment from the district.
and those fees are listed here, but again, they'll be charged to the lease itself right there.
And the contract goes through June 30th, correct?
Yes, it goes through June
So
30th.
it's gonna be quick.
Yeah, so we, found out about trying to help y'all out with this pretty quickly, and we said, yep, we can get that done for you by the end of the fiscal year, so.
And if for some reason, say, whatever issue arises, we're not getting interest rates back from the banks as quick as we thought, how do we go about extending?
I can work with, Mr. Anthony, and we could, put another contract in place for the next fiscal year. So that wouldn't be an issue at all. I'd be happy to work with you all as much as you want, but the term is just to cover this current lease, that it would be easy enough to put one in place. It wouldn't stop our progress in working with you all.
You're very familiar with working because you've been a district CFO.
I was the CFO for Stillwater Public Schools for just prior to coming over. So I started this role in July of last year, and, did a
So
lot of work
we
on
knew each
bonds.
other before.
So we knew each other before, and I've worked on bonds and leases and in my prior role, and know a lot about school finance as well, so it's made this one pretty smooth and trying to move forward on it quickly.
What's the annual fee of $3,500?
So that's in the event we did any continuing disclosure assistance for you all, which I wouldn't anticipate, with this transaction. But the district is required to do continuing disclosure based on the fact that you have outstanding bonds offered, so this is a new debt. I just spoke with Mike beforehand that they'll have to put something out on, it's an SEC-based website to say that you've entered into a new lease agreement. In the event we were the one to help you with that, we would charge a fee for that, but, at this point, unless asked to, that wouldn't be part of the services we'd be providing. This is our standard contract that we put out for cities and school districts, depending upon, few of the differences between the two entities, but we have it in there in the event something were to come up, so that we don't have to put out a new contract.
Any questions?
Okay, 5.4, discussion and possible board action regarding a service agreement with Municipal Finance Service Incorporated for the Bixby Public Schools Administration Building Project. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve 5.4.
Second.
All right, call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, I know we're jumping around a lot
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you
Thank
both.
you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We can jump to that one too, if you like.
Point two.
That's what we're staying in this
Okay.
category.
All right. So, you have to be patient with us tonight. We're jumping around a lot just to accommodate different speakers we have. We're gonna go to 5.2 now. Discussion and possible board action regarding general liability, education leaders liability, property and casualty insurance agreement for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion, we approve 5.2.
Second.
Discussion?
On this one too, the board will be voting on one of the options that will be discussed here tonight, so we'll amend this motion after you've had a chance to look at the options and decide which way we want to go.
We're how far?
Reduce them.
How reducing it? Yes.
And we have Mr. Aaron Reinhardt here. Come on up, Aaron.
Okay, yeah.
Come on up. Go.
See you all. Well, thanks for accommodating me and moving things around.
Of course.
Let's start on this page, and I'll give you, like we do every year, kind of an overview of the market, and then kind of where we're sitting. It's not a real secret if you follow the insurance world over the last few years, but especially into this year, that it's been tough. It's been tough, especially from a property standpoint, and that's the biggest cost driver of insurance. I mean, the liability, the autos, things that are over the road, comes with a cost, but our biggest cost is that we have this year a little over $320 billion of buildings. And you see the difference. Last year we had about just under 296 million in that exposure summary, kind of gives you an idea of side to side. Really the difference is we added the turf at the soccer field, we added the track and locker building, and then the other part of that increase is just inflationary increase, right? And so these insurance carriers are looking at buildings at really any industry, but especially schools, churches, where there's lots of property, and they're saying what was okay to insure or rebuild a building 12 months ago isn't the same cost it would be today, and so we need to protect ourselves a little bit, and we see that with building projects and things that cost increase over 12 months. So they hedge their bets a little bit, and that's what they've done here, and so they've increased the values over all of our buildings, and to be fair to them, there's truth in that, right? I mean, there's truth in costs have increased throughout the year and are continuing to do so. So that's where we get a increase in property value. And so just what that means, just from a 10,000 foot view, if rates stayed the same, if we had no rate increases here on our property, our premium would be up 8.3% because we are now insuring that much more property value than we were last year. Autos kind of fluctuate throughout the year. We will probably end the year with more than 92 vehicles. We had 89 at the start. We'll add buses. This is kind of the time of the year that happens. Obviously, we continue to grow from a student standpoint. That number will probably also jump throughout the summer. Who knows what we will be at when we start school. I gave you guys just a TIV means total insured value, and premium historical summary. It just kind of gives you an idea of where we've come from. Obviously, prices have increased, but so have our values. You look back in 2018, we had $231 million of buildings. We almost have $100 million more of stuff to insure, which is a good thing. I mean, the district's growing, it's fun, but there are increased costs as we follow along. Claims history just gives you an idea. 9% loss ratio is strong. It's really good in the grand scheme of things. It does not follow suit with the state of Oklahoma and schools that have been loss leaders. It's just, and I skipped kind of the executive summary, but the reason why we're dealing with rate increase the last 3 years and then into this year is really losses. In the last 3 years in the United States insurance market, they've had losses over $275 billion. It's the biggest 3-year stretch ever. I mean, and some of that, there's more stuff, there's more things there's more houses to catch fire and wildfires. When hurricanes hit Florida, there's more homes, and home values are up and building values are up, and so we just continue to have volatile weather and volatile catastrophic events, which just means these reinsurance markets and the insurance carriers cannot keep up. And so they just continue to push up premiums, and that's what we're dealing with this year. I put a peer property comparison just to give you an idea of some of the other schools that we insure around here. Bixby is moving into and will continue to move into as they grow into that next section. OSIG is our property program. It's really our entire insurance program. It insures 95% of the districts here. There's about 10 or 12 that fall outside of that, and they're the largest 6A districts. They purchase their property through a shared program that's outside of OSIG. which we may get there at some point, or we may feel we want to be there from a protection standpoint, but it comes with higher deductibles and higher costs. What that graph shows you is the rate in cents, just basically means that's our rate per $100 of property coverage. So for every $100 of property that Bixby owns, we're charged a rate. And if you'll see the Southeast Tulsa area, that's Union, that's Edmond, that's Norman, that's Mustang, just to kind of give you an idea of who those are. The OSIG program provides lower rates than what we would find on our own out at the market if we could find somebody to provide insurance for us. And obviously it allows school districts to carry much lower deductibles than are out on the market. If we were a $320 million private school, if we were a $320 million university, we would have a $100,000 all other peril deductible and a 2 or 3% wind hail deductible. It would just be what the market forces us to do. We could look to buy that down, it probably wouldn't make financial sense. So to be fair to OSIG, even though prices have continued to go up, which has caused us to look at deductible options and push those up, it still provides lower rates and lower deductibles than what schools could find on their own in the open market. It's why that program is here. So we just put that in there, just it's good reference as we look at, which I think the next page is our premium summary. And it just shows you where our expiring premium is. It's $779, $717. And if we don't want to do anything, it's a 25.9% increase, which is hard to swallow. There's no getting around it. We did quote some alternate deductible options. We have kind of pushed those deductibles up over the years as we've grown, but also to help offset some cost increase. Mike, myself, and Rob met yesterday or a few days ago to kind of talk through these to kind of see what made sense. I put down there on the last kind of asterisk the west expansion, just to give you guys an idea. It's not on the schedule yet, just based off the total cost of that project and what that will be added from a value standpoint. That will cost approximately $27. So you can $27,000. $27. We take that. Done. So we just need to think of that when we're looking at these deductible options. That obviously we'll be insuring more here in the coming weeks as we add that building on. So I don't know if you want to provide any more context on what you guys are thinking from a deductible standpoint, or obviously we don't have to. You don't have to increase deductibles. We can keep the $50,000 all other peril and $150, but with the cost increase, with the continued growth of the district, if it hedges our bets a little bit, saves us some money, it's probably worth considering.
Well, my thought process has been to raise it, because we can always next year if we want to lower it, but we're at a point in time with our bond money where we have that reserve amount of over $4 million that's sitting there. That's for projects, and we've got a little excess annual money as well. That should a wind and hail event occur, we could handle a $200,000 hit next year. Now, can I say that a year from now or 2 years from now? I don't know, but maybe, we'll get used to it. Just want to keep it there and have that set aside as we raise our annual program money on the next bond issue 5 years from now. We may have to look at doing that, but on the bond side, we have that money there in reserve for other projects and more in annual money for next year that we could afford to raise our deductible. And then that gives, you look at the reductions, that gives you, roughly 50,000 plus. If you were to go like 75 to, that's another person somewhere. Maybe not necessarily a teacher, but some other help that we'd have in the general fund to use for personnel.
Was this, sorry,
No, go ahead.
was that last year or 2 years ago that we raised our deductible and did the same thing? Was that last year? Because we had the same conversation about where we can go back.
Right.
I don't think we're ever gonna go back.
We may not, but.
And last year, didn't we have something happen and we had to pay the bigger deductible right after we did it? Seemed like something with a roof or something.
Well, we've paid more out of pocket on a couple of things, but nothing major, nothing like we've seen in the past where we had water damage at NI, or we had the wind damage, was that 7 years ago, something like that, when they had that gust of wind that just flowed through. Yeah, we've not had anything super major, in that aspect, so. And it would be a hit, it would affect us if we had that, but it's just six one, half dozen the other, whether or not we wanna have say preserve a little more money in the general fund or risk the weather event or, and like I said, now we do have that excess in the bond money right now, and that we won't always have that.
We're sitting at 50 and 150 right now, right?
Right.
We're talking about going 75, 200?
Option three.
That's what I was thinking.
Option three. Which again, if you look at, by raising those deductibles, our premium will be about $98,000 less. So we're able to save that, and if we don't have any of those events, then we're having to pay those higher deductibles, then we're in the good. Insurance is always
It's a gamble.
risk management. If we lived in Norman, I'd probably say,
Yeah.
It seemed to
I
be-
might say keep it where it
Yeah.
is.
keep it where it is,
Absolutely.
or Moore, or Shawnee, or those places.
And we say that, you know,
I know.
we're still not out of the season
I
yet.
know, I know.
We're in Oklahoma, that's just the way it is, so.
So with option three, it still represents a 13% increase, but we think that that's a safe place to be, in light of where the insurance industry is right now.
And if you all collectively feel different and wanna keep it where it is, I'm fine with that too, and we'll manage it either way, so.
I don't mean to breeze over the coverages that all this pertains to, but this is usually the hot topic and talking point. I mean, OSIG is extremely broad from a coverage standpoint. The district is very well covered from a property, a liability standpoint, over the road with our buses, transferring kids. There's obviously some tort protection that helps school districts as well, but it's an extremely robust program. It's just we're dealing with pretty significant cost increase, and we have.
The coverages are the same.
Coverages are the same. They've added a deadly weapons event policy to this, which is unfortunate, but is a nice additive for the schools. But no change in terms of conditions or coverage limits or anything else throughout the program. No. So.
And I will say, I had an email discussion with other CFOs and we were all seeing the same things, and a lot of them were raising deductibles and having that same discussion we were, or are, I should say.
That, as we said a couple of years ago, when OSMART is what I used to call it, when we had two different groups out there, it provided a level of competition where that doesn't exist now. So it would be good at some point if another entity came out there as a.
Yeah, I mean, it will turn at some point. I mean, it's not gonna stay a hard market is what they call this. It's not gonna stay a hard market forever. They're cyclical, the insurance industry. It's just been tough. And at some point, premiums will get to a point, deductibles will be raised where these carriers feel they're getting more than sufficient premium. They'll be making enough money, and then it'll be back to a competitive situation. And at that point, we'll hope another program comes into the state. Or by the time we may be at a value standpoint as we continue to grow, where we can go outside of these programs and see if there's competitive options. But right now, it is extremely limited. Property's tough, Oklahoma's tougher, and schools have a lot of property and we're here in the state, so.
Didn't you share with us the market had gone from firm to hard?
Yeah, so in January, I mean, and you know, this is really year 4 of standing in front of school boards and passing this type of news on. And the property brokers who place all this in their offices in January, and they said, well, guys, we gotta let you know, it's going from firm to hard, and we got choked, and we thought it was hard for the last 30 years, you know, I mean, hard, I don't know.
Something past hard?
Yeah, yeah, I was like, what's the next step? So, and then we saw it when we started coming through, and 25% is what OSIG is their average. There's schools that are higher than that. A lot of our large schools that are in that outside program are in the 30s to 40% increases right now on the property side, which are millions of dollars for some of the schools with such high valuations.
And I will say that does put a little more pressure, mean, we do have, like I said, bond money for that catastrophic reconstruction event too, but, you know, for little items that might be, you know, $7,000 or something like that, I mean, call that little. You know, sometimes those may go to bond fund, sometimes those might get diverted to building fund, so I have to look to not do that anymore because we're gonna be stretching building fund a little bit. So, I have to kind of play with both of those funds when we get into these events like that, where I place the cost.
I think on the surface, I mean, raising it obviously makes sense. My only concern is once we raise it, I don't think we'll ever be able to go back, and that bond money won't be there forever. And we're fixing to add a high school, so it's gonna go up once that's done.
Quite a bit
And I don't
or
know.
2 years from now.
It's a lose-lose situation here, but that's the only thing that concerns me is that bond money's not always gonna be there to cover.
I agree.
I mean, it'd be
Well-
really hard,
Well, here,
especially.
what we've got is basically a 5-year window we're looking at. I say 5-year because probably within that time is when we do our next big bond issue that we do. So when we look at that, obviously we're gonna have to build, you know, probably another elementary school and who knows what else. So we will have to incorporate more money, I think, on our annual programs to safeguard things like this that are happening.
You said the last time was at North Intermediate, the flood, or was that, how much what was the
It was
damage?
probably, close to 80,000, cause what they had to tear out and, that was also where we were using a restoration company that I told at the time, was it just Tina? Was Tina here? And I told them not to use them anymore, cause I walked outside and I saw the guy had a big 4-wheel drive truck with these huge tires and everything on it. I thought, I'm not paying for that. So that was the last time we used them. So don't come to us with a nice truck like that with lifts and everything, so you're gonna lose the business real quick, so. But that was quite expensive. And it was the same company that did the bus barn fire when we had that. And
CE was the last one, wasn't it?
yeah, we did have a flood at CE, but it was not quite as bad as the one, I mean, as far as the damage was concerned.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate.
And those weren't weather events, those were
Yeah.
like geothermal.
And your recommendation is option 3, that's what?
Rob and I talked about that, that's kind of what we were leaning to. Not to go,
It's a $42,000 difference. So that's $42,000 that we'd be able to spend towards an event to happen.
You didn't drive a big truck here, man.
No. Mike for a long time.
You're right, your wife's car.
Yeah, drove the minivan. But I mean, to your point, I mean, there is 2 sides of that. I mean, one is, I mean, from an industry standpoint, we also insure a lot of private schools and universities. And I'd kill to have a $75,000, $200,000 deductible on some of our large private schools, and we just can't get it. So it is low. But on the flip side, it is hard. Once you move from those lower deductibles, you know, it is fair to say, I don't know that we'd ever get back there. I mean, just from a cost standpoint. So, but again, I look at it from an industry perspective, and that's still a low deductible considering the total values we have here. Even the 75, 200.
You guys got any thoughts, Matt?
I'm good with option 3. Yeah. That makes the most sense.
Make that.
Since you made the motion, do you wanna make
Amend
the
your motion.
amendment?
Did I do that?
I think so.
Mhm.
Is that a,
No, you did.
oh, I did? Oh, okay. Alright, I'll do it then. 5.2. So,
You just
alright,
make a motion
I
to
make a
approve
motion that we approve option 3 with general liability, education leaders liability, property and casualty insurance agreement for the 2023-2024 fiscal year.
Second.
Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thanks,
Thank
Aaron.
you. We usually would be more excited to see you.
I know.
And you bring us a check.
Those are easier meetings.
That's easier meetings.
And we do get a payment plan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of snarling and.
Okay.
I know.
Note to self, bring a big check.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we're at 5.3, or do you?
Well, let's go ahead and jump to eight. Let's jump to 8.1 and 8.2.
All right, at this time,
These minutes are gonna be so much.
okay, so we, just for note, we still have 5.3.
Yep.
We're gonna jump to 8.1 at this time. Okay, 8.1, discussion and possible board action to hire Curtis Wiley as principal of the Bixby Ninth Grade Center for the 2023-2024 school year. I make a motion, we approve 8.1.
Second.
Discussion.
Board members, as I shared with you last week, we've gone through the process with site interviews and then second interviews at the district level. And we think we've got a wonderful candidate to be the next principal at the Ninth Grade Center, Mr. Curtis Whiteley, a 2003 graduate of Bixby High School. He also has students at West Elementary, so he's part of the reason we're having that head on this as well. But Curtis has spent the last 5 years as an assistant principal at Owasso High School, so he's got that secondary experience, and he's already hit the ground running, right, Curtis?
Yes, sir.
It's like anything else, you say, yeah, I'd love to do that, then you say, oh my goodness, there's a lot to do.
Straight out of the water, or fire hose.
There you go. But I just wanted to have Curtis come, and if you have any questions or anything about it, you'll see him around, and just wanted you to know who he was. And he's already started meetings, been meeting with Linda and with our district team, and with Mr. Vogel at the high school, and so he's already forming those connections. You ready to go?
Welcome.
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 Thank you.
So do we make it
Just a, yeah.
All right, call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, 8.2. Yeah, 8.2, discussion and possible board action to assign Rachel Shinsethage as interim principal of Bixby North Elementary School for the 2023-2024 school year. I make a motion, we approve 8.2.
Second.
And we need a nickname for you.
It's fun to just wait. You did a good job.
It's not fun for me.
You did good.
Well, board members, you know Rachel, she was the assistant principal last year at North Elementary. The year prior to that, she was an instructional coach, so she's very familiar with the North Elementary campus, which is one of the reasons that with Mrs. Mears' departure, we decided that Rachel was the perfect person to step in as the interim principal there and help lead them through the transition. And we know she has lots of great ideas and is ready to go, and has a fantastic personality, and I know we'll be focusing on just maintaining that really positive culture that's at North Elementary, and supporting those teachers and staff. So Rachel, congratulations.
Thank you.
Glad to have you in that position.
Thank you.
All right, call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
We have Nabholz here, so we are gonna jump to 7.1.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump to 7.1. We can't keep these Nabholz guys ready.
No, they're gonna get back out, they're still
Yeah,
working.
we'll start
on it.
working.
Let me read it real quick before we get started here. 7.1, discussion and possible board action regarding a modification of the guaranteed maximum price GPM for Bixby High School academic building. I make a motion, we approve 7.1.
Second.
Discussion.
Right, and then when we amend it here after we'll say in the amount, the increase will be that number.
You guys have-
Hello, gentlemen. Hello.
Okay, no, it's just a problem. So I was trying to make sure.
Do you have another?
Now, we will share those.
Alright,
We can pull them
Go,
up.
these
Oh,
are.
okay. I was looking for my glasses earlier, I can't.
Which page you want?
Oh, is that there anyway? It's a particular page.
This increase to the GMP is based on our most recent set of bids that came in for a lot of the interior aspects.
Can you read that, Julie?
Can you make it bigger?
42, maybe a little bit, not
Bigger?
No, I can see it.
So the total amount is $7,227,458. Our budget for this package was 9.5. We do still have two packages that we're having to bid out in a couple weeks that are about 1.6. Let me do a little math here.
Too many bits in your head.
I'll sit in my truck and get these numbers pulled up. So we're expecting it to come in the 8.8 ballpark. So good amount under our budget, which is always a good thing. This does not incorporate alternate two that Liz had emailed me about earlier, so, we'll pull that out in the GMP minute in a couple weeks.
What Jordan's talking about, we are still in discussions with KKT about the individual classrooms and exciting stuff about how many tack boards and how many whiteboards and how they're gonna be configured in the classrooms. And we want it to be set up the way our teachers do, so we're trying to get as much input in that process as we possibly can. So we met again yesterday after we had met with Apples last week and made a couple more tweaks just to make sure that we're capturing what our teachers will want in there. So we'll have another change to GP.
Yeah, which we'll include that when we do the communications and the railings package.
Similar to how we did the track building.
Yes.
Question, when we get our teachers' input, are we getting them from different subject areas? All, okay.
Yeah.
Figured that.
In fact, as an example, to answer that question, we had furniture set up in May.
It should be
On May 18th, and so all the teachers, the students come in and try out the different furniture, look at the different layouts, and give their feedback.
Perfect, okay.
Now, there's obviously never 100% consensus on what they wanna do, but we're trying to capture as best as we can what that standard classroom would look like, the types of furniture and equipment that would be in it. So they have had a say in this process.
do you have did we have an estimated number for this part?
Yes, that was the 9.5.
9.5
So
estimate?
I would
Okay.
add 1.6 to the 7.7 or 7.2
Because we
number.
took out.
Well, cause we have
Yeah,
two more bid packages that we had to push back because of addendums that we next have not bid out yet.
Okay,
So
say that again.
So the 7.2 does not include the communications for all the railings, and that is going to be in the ballpark of 1.6 million.
So bring this to about 8.8, this set of bids, when they estimated initially.
Okay, that
So
makes.
it's still gonna be under budget. We haven't said a whole lot on this project, it's a little under budget. Most bids fixed bids.
That's the breakdown of what came,
Yes. Would you like us to go through that, or
It's not the different pieces to it.
yeah, it's exhibit B.
It should be right before that.
Yeah.
okay, you meant the individual items?
Right there, yes.
Or do you wanna go to the one above? Where are you looking?
Which one would you like?
This,
Well, that's all the amendments, if they wanna
Yeah,
see that.
that's
They wanna
correct.
see that?
I don't know if we need to go through
Yeah.
each and one unless somebody sees one that they have a question about.
Okay.
But those were all amendments right there from that
That's
whole
correct.
through everything they've done,
Yes.
both the track building and this and the stadium.
The stadium, and yes.
No more surprise staircases.
no.
Yeah, we've got to the bulk of these projects, so also have some landscaping things.
Correct. We have one more, which includes we have the landscape and irrigation is in this, but we've got just these two packages, and then we're finalizing all of the, IT, that'll be the last one. Yes, sir. Any we'll be more than happy to go through anything y'all want us to, or talk about anything, or.
Can I see anything, or need a little bit more time to look through it? All right, I'm gonna make an amendment. I make a motion that we approve 7.1 for the guaranteed maximum price for the high school academic building equaling $7,227,458. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Had a busy day, haven't you?
Yes. I didn't get the dress code, I would've dressed up.
Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Nowhere.
Come back to three.
Well, we don't have to do 3 now, cause nobody's.
Yeah, we can go 2.1, we can go up to the top.
Alright. Back to 2.1.
Takes 45 minutes to get to the start of.
Superintendent report.
All right, board members, I've got, just really 3 quick slides. So I wanted to spend just a minute talking about the state budget agreement. We spent a lot of time this spring talking about the various options that were out there. This is the final one that was approved by the legislature, signed by the governor. It will, based on OSSBA estimates, increase our weighted ADM from about 38.49, which is what the factor was mid-year, to about 41.66, so about a $317 per weighted ADM. Our weighted ADM is just over 12,000. It's not the number of students, that's each student carries weights as well. So you can do that math. What the legislation says is that second bullet, step 0 through 4, is a $3,000. The reason I put 3250 and 4250 is that last year in negotiations, we had made kind of a soft pledge with our teachers that we would roll that 250 into this year. So that's not state money, that's money that we agreed to last year, so that's where those numbers come from. It includes, the legislation includes certified admin with the exception of superintendent. It's always been the case. We've run some numbers just based on our current staffing and the estimated cost with burdens, which is FICA and GRS and all those aspects, of about 3.5 million. So you can see of that 4.7 million in new money, 75% of it's gonna go directly to this teacher pay raise. So while we appreciate the new money, it's not gonna go as far as some of the legislature might want you to think, because the majority, and this is gonna be reflective of other districts as well. Most of that money is gonna go for the teacher pay raise. The percentage increase, if you look at our existing salary scale, will be somewhere from 8% to as much as 13.4% based on where a teacher is on the salary scale. So that's kind of the range that we're looking for all of our staff, because we recognize that it's not just certified staff who are needing a pay raise, it's everyone, our support staff, our child nutrition workers, our bus drivers, our admin staff, paraprofessionals, all of those people. So we are in the process now of running numbers on all of our scales, our support scales, our admin scales, so that maybe by July, we'll be able to have those. We still have negotiations to go with teachers, so we're gonna kind of work these scales at the same time, so that we can bring those to you at the appropriate time to approve all of those scale increases. Our support salaries, we're looking, the first numbers we ran were 10% across the board for all support staff. And so now we we've just gotta reconcile and see, is that within the budget? We haven't had our initial allocation notices or any of that sort of stuff, so we're still shooting in the dark just a bit. So we wanna be careful, we want to give our support staff as much as we possibly can, but we also need to make sure that we're not overspending the money that we have. So we wanna really work and massage that as much as we can. Redbud funding, we haven't really talked a lot about Redbud funding before because we didn't qualify for it. This is money that was for those districts that didn't receive a lot of county mills or what's the other part I'm missing? Not the county mills, but
Ad valorem for the building.
ad valorem for building fund, smaller districts predominantly. And because of the amount of money that the state put in it, we were not eligible for that. But since they've added money to that pool, Bixby now qualifies for additional Redbud fund to the tune of $833,000, which is additional building.
That's a big help to us. We
It is,
really-
especially now.
That's specific to building funds
Yep.
only,
Right,
okay.
right. So that can be, that won't go into salaries and things like that, that's primarily to help.
I think with the funding, sometimes it's misleading that somebody might see a number, but it's specific for this category of that.
And then the other money that we'll get through this legislation is the safety pilot grant. There was, what was the total amount I'm getting, but our share would be about 96,000. We can use that money. We haven't seen the guidelines yet, but what we've been told is we'll be able to use that for SROs or other safety programs. And next month, we'll bring to you the SRO contracts. We already know that a portion of this money is going to have to be used to pay a portion of our fourth SRO's salary, because that grant that was funded before has run out. So in order to keep that fourth SRO, we're gonna have to partner with the city. Each of us pay half of that salary, so we know part of that will come from that 96. But it's nice to be looking at some new money and trying to figure out how to best use that to benefit our employees and benefit our district. But that's the impact that we'll see in Bixby.
Is the 833,000, is that a guesstimate or is that pretty?
No, that's the, well, I guess you could say it's the estimated number that was given to us by the state, so.
Good. And then, the only other question I had, on the percentage increase range, 8% to 13.4, is that variance just because it's a straight dollar amount?
So I'll give you an example. A teacher making 40,000 in step 0 or 1 will get a 3250 increase. That would be about a 7.5–8% increase. Whereas a teacher that hits step 5 and is at 43,000 will get a $4,000, which is about a 9%. But if you're 46 and get a $5,000 raise, now you're at 11%. So it depends on where you are on the scale.
And is that step range something that we have come up with, or is that what? Okay.
It's our salary scale, pretty much set up. We have our base salary, bachelor's with 0, and it increases by $400 a year up until year 5, and then it goes to $500 a year. And then there's some thresholds where you may go up 1,000 or 1,500 when you get 10 years or 15 years. So we've built that into our scale.
I see that now, it's step, I was wondering what the step was. I didn't know if it was like set, we're getting 5,000, so the percentage was different based on how much they made, but it's actually a different amount for each.
Right. So there will be some bigger thresholds, say at step 10, where we already had a larger jump, but now it's gonna be the jump we already had built plus another 1,000 that comes from that difference between 4250 and 5250. So there'll be some bigger increases in our scale than there were before.
What is our, do we accept step ways? I mean, I know we don't get a lot of teachers from Texas because they go to Texas, but what, if they are coming to from Texas, How many years do we take?
The state acknowledges 5 years out of state, but we pay for all out-of-state experience.
So as a district, we accept those years, okay?
That was one of many small things that we've done over the last few years to try and recruit and retain teachers.
Okay.
So we took off the cap on military experience, we took off the cap on out-of-state.
So we just absorb,
We pay.
okay,
It doesn't change what the state credits them with at retirement for
okay.
years of service.
But their salary, we're
For
gonna.
salary, we cover.
Okay. My other question is, and Mike, this might be a question for you or for Rob, with this larger portion of money, what are we looking at with, federal money? If those federal grants don't come through, that weren't applied through for the Oklahoma State Department of Education, do we see taking a hit for our district? Or do we know
From
yet?
what we understand now, most of the federal grants that we receive are recurring grants.
Okay.
Those were already approved from the state when the Every Student Succeeds Act was approved in 2015. So the state applies for those, IDEA, Title I, all those grants, and then they just have to maintain those grants. So you don't have to do a new grant application each year. You have to comply with the federal guidelines and those sorts of things. The
Yeah.
grants that are not being submitted allegedly are the kind of discretionary grants that the federal government offers, maybe for social emotional learning or school security or mental health preparedness, that those dollars are out there from the federal government. If you don't apply for them, you don't get them.
So ours are, that would be reoccurring will be because Sherry's turning in the information from our specific school district. Okay.
Is that your understanding as well,
Yeah.
Mike? I mean,
And
it's-
most of that federal stuff is based on some other factor anyway, it's not what we're getting from the state per se.
Okay.
So the answer is we shouldn't see an impact on those federal grants. It's just any new grants don't appear to be applied for.
Okay, got it.
All right, this is an interesting graph, and we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time, but, I saw this presented by a construction manager. So this is the Federal Reserve Economic Data, called FRED, and it collects information from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so if you go all the way to the left, you'll see that index, and this is called the Producer Price Index. And you've probably heard the term Consumer Price Index before, and that's what consumers pay. It's a measure of inflation. The Producer Price Index is also a kind of a leading indicator of inflation because it represents the change in prices that domestic producers receive for their goods. So it's more of the wholesale version. So producers are getting increased rates. So if you started back in 2009 with an index of 100, the 127.3 is where it was when COVID hit. So in essence, if you just do percentages, that's about a 27.3% increase from 2009 to March of 2020. But then look what happened. It goes a few months, and September of 2021 is when it starts going vertical. And we've seen it go from 127.3 to 174.9. That is the inflation that we're seeing with all of our construction projects, because every subcontractor, every construction manager that's where that inflation is happening. And so when we bring you these bids for the high school, and we started at 60 million or 65 million, and now we're at 70 million and 75 million, it's because of those cost increases, which is really unprecedented, because for a decade, from 2009 to 2020, we had kind of a nice gradual increase, 2 to 3% a year. But over the last 2 years, it's more than doubled that rate of increase for a decade in that short amount of time.
And that reflects back on our insurance costs, because you're looking at replacement costs there. So,
The good news is, if you look at the very top, it's flat for the last 3 months. So I don't know if it's gonna come down, maybe it will. We are starting to see some bids that are coming down from what they were estimated a while ago. So the timing was not, it's just what it was. When we bid or estimated most of the bond projects for the 2022 bond, it was in the fall of 21, which is when it started its ascent. So we said, this is what we think it will cost, and then we see what inflation has done.
I know our steel products have kind of flattened out over the last quarter and a half or so. Not getting so many price increase letters from manufacturers. So,
And the timelines have shortened as well.
Yeah.
We're able to get it.
Yeah, supplies getting a little bit better for sure, and steel for sure.
So anyway, if you're taking nerds, you can go to that website, there's all kinds of stuff. And then, the last one is, this is from Tulsa Kids. Bixby is the community, there we are. And, you can go online to Tulsa Kids and get the current edition and talks all about Bixby, which is kind of neat. Some articles, and then the next page actually has a couple of family members, talks about their experience in Bixby. Very cool. Lots of cool stuff. And you see our one bridge there.
That could act as a deterrent in the article. Families like, oh, there's only one way.
Something should.
Only one way in and out, that's it.
Do they have any idea when they're gonna start on the PAC?
Yes. The completion date is February 26th, and probably a 22-month construction phase on it. So I
And it's gonna be
imagine-
right behind the BOC, in that park.
So probably April of 24, we'll actually start construction. Which again, sounds like forever from now, but it's June 23rd, so it's not that hard. They're in the process now of selecting a construction manager, they've already got the architect, a lot of the design already done. Any questions for me? I told you that was short.
3, comments from the public. All right, moving on to 4. 4, general consent agenda, discussion and possible board action to approve consent agenda items 1 through 51. These items may be approved by one board motion unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any and all of these items. I make a motion that we approve general consent agenda 1 through 51.
Second.
Discussion. The longest consent agenda that I can recall. I will spend a minute just kind of talking through a few items, and you'll be aware of the first page, 4.1 through 4.3, those are standard on every month. 4.4 through 4.8 are simply the assignment of our district admin to the various roles in finance. Those have to be done on an annual basis. 4.9 and 4.10 are just renewal of contracts for photos and yearbooks. Then 4.12 through 18, those are all annual MOUs, memorandums of understanding with various educational institutes for placement of students with our school. 419 through 421 are MOUs, both with Tulsa Tech, if we have any students that are involved in the aerospace program, and then also with Glenpool for our ROTC and their foundations and manufacturing program. If we have, how many students do we have involved in that?
That's
Just
right.
a couple?
Are those the only 2 programs that we share with Glenpool?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot that we got in this last year, I don't remember.
Okay.
I was
It's really-
just gonna say 3 to 5.
On the next page, Trista, you had asked about the Palmer Addiction Recovery Services. That is really just an MOU. They can provide classes to our students if we request it. It's not something they just come out and do, it's we request it, and we also can refer students
a family has financial burdens and could not afford.
It's on a sliding scale.
It's on a sliding scale, okay, perfect.
4.28, Sandy Hook Promise, again, is our anonymous reporting system. A little data on that, pulled a report this morning, we've had 137 reports since July 1 of last year, so it's been used quite a bit. And 17 of those are what we call life safety issues. So suicide ideation or threats, that would be a life safety issue, so pretty happy we've got that program in place. 4.33 is Educator's Handbook. This was new for this year, and it is a system for reporting of disciplinary infractions. It is a great tool because it now gives us something where we can analyze our disciplinary infractions. Teachers are able to input this on their computer or through their cell phone, and then they get feedback from the administrator as to what actions took place with that individual student as a result of that referral. And then principals can review that data with their sites, and they can talk about when do we see these types of behaviors, certain times of the day, certain places on campus. You can kind of really track all kinds of different things.
So like if Miss Lacy had a behavior problem, which I'm sure she never has, never, yeah. So she sends somebody to the principal's office, they would be able to go back and look at a report and even pull it up for like a parent if you had a.
Right, so at 9:30 every Thursday, Miss Lacy gets in trouble.
I was saying the student, not you, okay.
Because she leaves the class and goes to the restroom and something happened, I don't. So yes, it allows you to track individual student behaviors and see those trends.
I do have one question,
Yep.
one concern, hope it doesn't come across too harsh, but I'm gonna say it anyway. My only concern with this one, are we paying $10,000 to have teachers have more to document? And it seems like principals should be documenting, not the teachers.
No, actually, it's the same, so it's a referral system, so instead of the teacher filling out the referral on paper, they fill it out, and actually it's easier, it's just drop down menu, they can do it on their phone or their desktop, so the system would be there either way, it's just electronic.
So we have this on paper form now.
No.
Well,
We did
used to
before-
have it,
before we brought this in.
you would have it on paper form, right? When you wrote a referral for a student to go, you would always, I'm thinking of my day that you.
So
you
instead of the
documented
paper
it anyway.
referral. there's
It's a
referral.
program instead of having an
Okay.
okay.
And it also syncs with Power School, so it loads that automatically into our.
It just reports disciplinary discipline issues
So it,
for a student. You said it's on a phone?
it's minors, so it's, little infractions that could lead to bigger ones, the teacher can document in that system. It's major, so kid clears a classroom, gets into a fist fight, and then it's merits as well. So then every school, has a system in place for rewarding also, or recognizing, I shouldn't say rewarding, recognizing, positive behavior, and they also document that. And schools do things like, when they document, they bring them down, call their parents and say, Miss Wilson had a really good day, she helped this new kiddo in the cafeteria, and we're so proud of her. And so, it's all of those things, and now it's in one place instead of us doing them, in different processes.
So positives and redirection. Okay.
That clears it up.
We're saving trees.
Or saving trees.
Well, and improving communications
Yeah.
and being able to analyze that behavior data rather than just.
Well, I think if the information's in one place, that could be, I mean, instead of
Yeah, we
going
were
through a file.
trying to, before we purchased this, we were doing it on a Google Doc, and the principals were putting it all in. After the paper referral and the data, we can talk, we meet, every other month and discuss at principals meeting, they talk about it at site council with our staff as well. But there've been some things where like, oh my goodness, we didn't recognize, but in this hallway, we're having lots of issues, so we need to put more people on duty to stop some of that. So it really helps us to look about time where, which kiddos, because sometimes you see so many kids that you think, did I see him last week? Or, and you can look back and go, oh, I've seen him 3 times this month, we've gotta do something different.
If the board would like, we can do a short demo of that and show you how it works. It really is neat that the way you can pull data and look at it, because about every 2 months, we do, yeah, we do a review, and each principal presents their discipline data. And the other principals can share practices that they have that are working. 4.34 is the teacher ease. That's our standards-based assessment, because Power School's not really set up to enter grades, do standards-based. So this allows the teachers to do that, and it syncs with Power School. Go Guardian 4.37, that's had that for several years. That's a way for teachers to monitor what students are doing on their devices.
As well as a filter for some.
And filters. There is a change on 4.40, not related to any cost, but we did ask the YMCA to add language in their contract for Go Club to offer a 20% discount for employees at Bixby schools. We give them a reduced rate to use our facilities, and we thought it was worthwhile to ask. So if employees will get a 20% discount if they use the Go Club.
I would like to make a quick comment on Ed Puzzle 4.35. I know that was kind of a hot topic there for a little while. I talked to a teacher that is in the intermediate grade, and she said she used that thing a ton, loved it. She didn't even know of any occurrences where kids actually got on there and searched stuff, which was kind of the concern. It was never used in that way, so something positive about the program.
I've heard nothing but, positive on the Ed Puzzle, so that's good to hear.
And I think, Cody, you've heard the same thing, right, about?
Yeah, and for us to have something with everything on teachers' plates this year that we've seen as it being non-mandatory, we've had 68% of our teachers dive in, and we've seen over 5,000 items created with it, so it's just been very well received, and I think that our teachers really appreciated it.
Did you say 5,000?
5,000 items, like videos, and so
Yeah.
across the teachers and everything. Some used it more than others, but they found it from everything from just an exit ticket to helping curate content, so.
That's great.
All right, on the personnel, on the employment, if you'll look at your certified personnel employment. Mr. President, I'll probably have to amend this. The first teacher that's listed under employment for 23-24, Jordan Alexander, did contact us today, so we're gonna hold his name off. So we will approve the consent agenda with the exception of Mr. Alexander's name from the employment for this year. And then we'll finish looking into that and either bring his name back or not.
And that's 4.50.
Yeah, 4.50.
Any questions?
And I'll add, we'll have them on the next month's list, but we have identified our 2 assistant principals for North Elementary, Elizabeth Casella, is that correct? As Rachel finished her interviews, and we'll select her as her assistant principal for next year. And then, is it Lisa Moore, will be the new assistant principal at East next year. But we'll have those on next month, just so you know that we filled those 2 positions.
Okay, so to amend the motion, I make a motion to approve the general consent agenda 1 through 51 with the amendment of 4.5, take, 4.50, taking the name of Jordan Alexander off the employment list for 2023-2024.
Second.
Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Sure, you can get all.
I was going ahead of you, and I was hoping they didn't change anything.
Sherry's gonna take some aspirin at it.
All right, Sherry, where would you like to go now?
Well, let's go in order.
5.2, or 5.3 is what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, 5.3, discussion and possible board action regarding the workers' compensation insurance for 2023-2024 fiscal year.
They're right there.
Okay, well, surprise, surprise, insurance costs go up again. So, but, we're basically, going up from 123,000 last year to 136. And that's based off this year's payroll numbers, which went up, when you look at the total, not just payroll, but all the payroll-related costs were up $5 million. So you can see as part of that increase probably was affected by the dollar amount of payroll we have on now. So as more people we get, that cost goes up. So we're up 20%. We had 2 years where we were basically flat in 21 and 22. They're making up for it these next 2 years. So, but that is basically our only like with insurance, we don't have a lot of people compete for our business on workers' comp. We were there for a while once the law changed, but, they don't approach me very much anymore about it. When I call somebody, they don't get back with me. So.
They don't take my calls. It was bound to happen.
I watch what truck they drive, so. So I recommend approving, OSAG as our workers' comp.
Questions on that? I make a motion, we approve 5.3 workers' compensation insurance for the amount of $136,000 for 2023-2024 fiscal year.
Second.
Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 6.1, teaching and learning. 6.1, review of the ARP ESSER 3 safe return plan, discussion item only, no action required by the Board of Education.
Good old acronyms, the American Recovery Plan, ESSER 3. This was the last round of federal money related to COVID. And this is, we have to spend it by September of 24, is that correct? But one of the strings that they attach to this money is that every 3 months, we have to get the board to approve any changes to our return to school plan. So the intent was to make sure schools were doing everything they could to keep kids in school during COVID, and we've made no changes, correct? So what we're asking the board is to approve no changes to the plan. We have every intent of keeping kids in school. But she has to post the board minutes on the federal grant page, just so.
So you just have to make us aware, we don't have to.
Yeah. But it'll be in the board minutes so that she can post it.
Okay, moving on, 6.2, discussion and possible board action regarding a service contract with Seidlitz Education for training services at a cost of $5,175.00 on August 9th, 2023. I make a motion, we approve 6.2.
Second.
Discussion.
This is for 1 day of training for our ELL program on August 9th. Anything to add to that, Sherry?
It will be kind of a methodology for the teachers and for regular ed teachers as well as our EL teachers on how to work with our EL students and provide them additional strategies for learning. So we will be opening that up. We've already got, I think, close to 40 teachers that have signed up, so we're really excited about that training for August.
How do we fund that training? Does that come out?
That comes out of we get special funds for our immigrant students, and so it's coming out of that grant.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 6.3, discussion and possible board action for approval of the quote for IXL Learning for site license at a cost of $74,203.00 for 2023-2024 fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
Second, or so moved.
Second.
Cheryl, do you wanna give any updates on IXL? That we- oh.
Sure, this is, it's not a new product. We've had several sites use IXL for the last several years for their tutoring feature. In addition to being that tutoring feature, last year we adopted it as our screener for math for grades K through 8. And then it's also our screener for ELA for grades 4 through 8. So it serves as our benchmark and then our progress monitoring tool, and it's a tutoring feature that kids can use at school or at home. That's targeted on specific skills that are identified based on the screener.
Do all teachers use it as a screener?
Yes.
Okay, so it's across the, okay.
The only exception, K3 ELA, we use Amira,
Okay.
but otherwise, yes.
Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, it's an adaptive software that adjusts to the individual students, so it provides
Correct.
individualized tutoring.
Well, and it's tied to things. Teachers can tie it to current instructions, so it's tied to standards or curriculum as far as what we've adopted. So IXL recommends students tackling at least 2 skills a week, one they're working on in class and one that's targeted based on their own diagnostic assessment, so that they're filling in gaps and keeping up with current content at the same time.
Can they practice at home also? That's what I thought, okay. I had one child that needed extra practice, so.
I will say, this has been a tool that has, what I love too, it's kind of a base 10 system as far as the data they provide to. We're looking for 100 points of growth a year, so it's 10 points per month, and over the 10 months of the school year, we're looking for 100 points. So it's helped us with our data team review meetings, so really monitor, are we making sufficient growth? If we're wanting to close gaps, we're looking for a 15-point monthly growth rather than the 10, so that we know that we're making gains. It's been, in the nerdy side of things, really fun to look at the data and see our growth.
Brings Cheryl great joy.
It does.
Any other questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 6.4, discussion and possible board action regarding a contract with Power School for license and subscription fee at a cost of $126,379.94 for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion we approve 6.4.
Second.
Student management system, scheduling software, and all that sort of stuff. What it costs.
Any questions? Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, we already discussed 7.1, moving on to 7.2. Discussion and possible board action regarding an agreement with Dewberry Architects Incorporated for the 9th grade Center Gymnasium project. I make a motion we approve 7.2.
Second.
A little background on this one. Last month, the board approved a contract with Dewberry for the East Intermediate Gym. So we're bringing back the 9th grade gym. We're not sure yet of the timing on when we want to pull the trigger on this particular project, but we needed to get the contract in place so that we can at least do the estimate phase of this to determine whether or not we need additional bonding capacity in order to complete this project. So it allows us, with all the other projects going on, to be able to, again, determine if we're going to need additional money in a bond in 2024 to help offset some of these increases and get this project done. So we're not actually actually moving forward. We're not breaking ground on the ninth grade gym anytime soon, but it will give the architects time to do that design phase, and get some pricing on what they anticipate it will cost. And the various options we have.
Any questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.3, discussion of possible board action regarding an agreement with GH2 Architects Incorporated, the Bixby Public School Administration Building Project. I make a motion, we approve 7.3.
Second.
As John said earlier, the agreements that we're making with the industrial authority will give us the discretion of appointing the architect and the construction manager for this. They don't really want to have anything to do with the actual construction of the building, so we have selected GH2 as our architect for this project, and then the next one, Miller Tippins, as the CM for that project. And those are the standard contracts that come with those. And we can look through there, same, you've seen these types of contracts before, these AIA contracts.
I was looking for something that had a dollar amount, but I didn't see.
It's in there. Typically, these contracts, both from architects and CMs, are a percentage.
I think there's a percentage if I remember.
Yeah, it is.
Liability policy.
For most architects, it's in that 6 to 7%, but I'm trying to remember what this one was.
Regulations of work.
Normally, the lower the cost of the project, the higher the percentage. So if you have a $50 million project, the percentage is a little less.
Supplemental
I think we're getting close.
services.
7%.
Did you see it? Right here.
Oh, that's the furniture.
I thought it was 6 something, but I can't remember.
There it is, cost of the work.
Keep going. Copyrights and licenses.
That's cost of work.
Okay, I got 4 pages to go. Let's see. That's miscellaneous.
Six and a half percent.
Scroll back a little bit. There.
6.5 or, okay.
Percent of the owners budget for cost of living.
Go back up a little bit more, get there.
All right, any other
Put that on
questions?
page 1, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
24.
Questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Moving on. 7.4, discussion and possible board action regarding an agreement with Miller Tippins Construction for Bixby Public School Administration Building Project. I make a motion to approve 7.4.
Second.
What you're looking at here is a draft contract. They're still working out a couple of the details. The fee structure should be the same. I believe this one is a 5%.
Skip over 6.
And if that fee changes.
No, I'm in 6.
Oh, if for some reason it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Page 6. Oh, 3. Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, so there you go.
Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.5, discussion and possible board action to approve the lowest responsible bidder for providing job order contracting services with Bixby Public Schools. Make a motion to approve 7.5.
Second.
Some of the board members probably remember an item similar to this, the job order contracting. What it allows us to do is to hire, and Magnum was the firm that we hired last time, they did some of the construction at CE and CI, the renovations, and they work off of a standard set of fees. And it allows us to hire somebody to manage that construction, and what we go out to bid for is what will their charge be. And so we went out with, we got two bids in, Magnum at 1.135, and then the next lowest was the Marac Group at 1.18. So what that means is they'll use whatever fees are assigned in the manual for those various projects, and then add that 13.5%. This is useful on smaller projects. Dave, did you have some additional information you wanted to add on this, some projects that you had in mind where this would be?
It's used a lot for just small renovation projects. Last time I was involved with it, we used it to do the remodel on CI's old kitchen area. So little things like that are complicated projects. You need a manager on it, and that allows us to have that construction management aspect of it. Also, it allows things to happen a lot quicker. They use the RS means book with the Tulsa factor in that sets the price of all the work that's done. So it's already planned out and it's written. So if we have a project, we can say, hey, we need this project done. They give us the price and they can get started on it. It saves us time, and
it allows you to avoid the competitive bid.
Right. That's the biggest thing, we save the time.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.6, discussion and possible board action to approve the lowest responsible bidder for interior painting for East Intermediate to Fisher Painting at a cost of $96,230.0. I make a motion, we approve 7.6.
Second.
When we say just the lowest responsible bidder, we are checking to make sure what they cover in that.
yes, and in fact, these two painters that had turned in bids, we have used in the past and have had great results with, and they've been very, very good to work with. So we were happy to get one of them on the job.
Okay, good.
Quality of work is good and
Yes,
price.
absolutely.
Sometimes lowest is not always best, so, okay.
You're right.
All right, okay, good.
And they have, these are the schools that we've just finished, the middle school, the north campuses. We've used both of these firms for those painting jobs, and they've done an outstanding job.
Good.
I was wondering just the other day, so our new high school is white, right? Most of it, is it mostly white on the new high school?
Not white,
I mean, not like bright white, but.
no, it's more of a tan.
Okay, is that,
It's got
I noticed when I dropped off the other morning, the activity center's getting painted, or the gym on the northeast corner, one of the two. And I was thinking, I wonder if we're painting that the same, are we painting that the same color, or just like?
So the practice gym or the PE gym,
Yeah.
whatever you wanna call it, yeah, we're kinda using the same colors for that we used out at baseball. So we're kinda continuing that on, it kinda picks up with what the new track building is. We'll be painting the multi-purpose building, exterior the same, and then also on the soccer side of that stadium. So all that entire complex over there will have a similar color pattern.
Okay.
And more school type colors.
Gotcha. Cool.
There will be some dark accents on the new high school academic building. We selected the brick last week, and it's a darker brown brick, and then there'll be some black around the windows and things like that, and then offset with the lighter colors. We'll look up.
Aren't they gonna, don't they do mock-ups on the wall that they built?
Right, across, you'll be able to see those here pretty soon.
Cool.
Any other questions? Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.7, discussion and possible board action regarding an agreement with Zendesk at a cost of $21,330.00 for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion, we approve 7.7.
Second.
This is our work order system that we use for technology and maintenance. It's actually a 3-year contract for $63,990, but it's broken out over each year, so $21,330 for next year. Maintain that service.
Any questions?
No.
Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.8, discussion and possible board action regarding renewal of a contract with statewide commercial cleaning company for cleaning services at a cost of $1,114,407.00 for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion, we approve 7.8.
Second.
That number makes you wanna
Yeah.
open your own custodial firm, doesn't it? Just for comparison, last year, and this is based on a nightly rate, you can see those in this email. So for last year, it hadn't changed from the previous year, so the 22-23 year, the total nightly rate was $6,232. This year, they bid in at $6,517 per day. So that's all the classrooms, all the buildings around the district. And so that reflects, add that all up, it comes up to $1 million.
This also includes the additional square footage at West Side.
Oh, okay.
Square footage.
How many, do they come in every night, not the weekends, but every night during the week?
Yes.
And
yes.
then what about summertime?
Summertime, no, they don't come in during the summertime.
That's our crews that clean during the summer.
Okay.
Can you remind me what they're doing again? I mean, on a nightly basis, like what's
So
the
they,
job responsibility?
trash, floors, restrooms, carpets, clean sinks in classrooms. And now I'm drawing a blank, I don't have it in front
That's
of me.
all on here, yeah, okay.
Do they restock toilet paper, paper
No,
towels?
we do the restock.
Our janitors
Yes.
on site do that, okay.
Have they been, I know we had all kinds of problems there for a while, have they been good?
We've had ups and downs, absolutely, this year. We made some changes, or they made some changes with staffing towards the end of the year. We also instituted some weekly, interviews with, principals and staff members between them, and our administration to kind of communicate a little better about what they were seeing, and that seemed to have made some improvements as well. So we feel like we finished pretty strong with them, and they're aware of the concerns that we had, and know that going forward that we have to continue this strong trend that we had at the end, or that possibility is there that we start looking for other options.
What is our, it's our wording to be able to end the contract? Is it, do we have specific word? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, should this be something that we should be bidding for 6 months at a time instead of a year to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do?
I don't think so. I think that would come back to bite us, because for a company to come in, they have to hire staff. So, a new company coming in would have a hard time gathering staff up for, say, 6 months and then letting them go again for the summer months. It's very hard to hang on to. Just like the whole reason we have night custodial staff is because we can't find enough people to do those jobs. And so they face the similar circumstances. It's hard to find custodial workers. So if we cut them off completely, you know, after 6 months, or had that option that they may lose the contract in 6 months, I don't think
Yeah,
it
I
would
wanna
work very
see-
well.
We keep scrolling.
Yeah, they just wanna see what all it covered. No, down, the other one, sorry. Right there.
On page 7.
And if you want it cheaper, then they take out the restrooms, the trash, and the
Yeah.
floor mopping.
Which of those things do you not want?
I mean, isn't that the most important things?
You don't want your restrooms clean, it's cheaper.
Does the child nutrition staff clean the kitchens, or is that something like the
Yes, Child Nutrition cleans the kitchen areas.
And they mop?
Yes.
And this is for every facility?
This is for all of our school facilities, so we have a different company that is our athletic facilities.
Yeah, I was coming on the two. Okay.
What, who cleans admin? Does this service?
No, we have staff that comes in and does that. So we have a couple of people or a person that goes through some of our smaller outbuildings and takes care of those.
Okay.
Can't have hours, we like you.
Okay. Okay.
I do think, I think I would just encourage the district next year that we get a couple bids out there. It's getting expensive enough, but we need to bring in bids rather than just see what else.
I understand that. And I will remind you, in the past, we've had cheaper bids and they've come from out-of-state companies and,
That's right.
and those went poorly.
Even if we don't use them, I think it's important to get them,
Sure.
cause at least they know we're getting bids.
The comparison.
Yeah.
I think every 3 years is reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, we've lived with the ups and downs of custodial work over the last
Good.
5 years.
Any other questions?
Julie, what would be your, I hate to put you on the spot, but your perspective as a teacher?
I will say, up until just recently with our newest crew, my room has been mopped every night.
Wow.
And it's been, the crews before would never, cause I was weekly sending in
Tickets for that?
tickets
Okay.
for room cleaning. And mopping with kids, that's a must.
For kindergarten.
For,
especially.
and I'm not just saying for kindergarten, but for any
Right.
moppings, you have to, so. And I actually went into my room last week and it was cleaned. I've never had it cleaned at the end of the school year,
Okay.
so.
That's positive.
Yes.
Alright. Call for a vote or any more discussion? Call for a vote? Alright, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.9, discussion and possible board action regarding a cleaning service agreement with We Clean For You Wimple Cleaning Service LLC at a cost of $189,000 per year for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion we approve 7.9.
Second.
Seems a lot better than the last.
You've met these two, Steve and Robin
Oh,
Whipple.
yeah.
Do all our athletic facilities, they really do a phenomenal job, staying on top, work whatever hours they have to work. And Dino, is this an increase, Gabe?
There is an increase but we also increased the number of buildings. We added the track facility and the multi-purpose, which is now a weight room. So they'll take over cleaning that for the next school year.
Questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.10, discussion of possible board action regarding renewal of contract with K1 Care for elevator maintenance at a cost of $1,909.00 per month for 2023-2024 physical year. I make a motion, we approve 7.10.
Second. This one was really hard for me that we.
I know.
There's only like 1 or 2 companies in the whole state.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's no.
Right. There was, I believe,
You
a
feel
1%
different after
increase
you've
on
been
this.
long.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. Yes, and I know it needs to be done. I just.
Pay this bill readily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's, yes.
We have
It does seem like a lot of money for every month, but it is a requirement that we have these maintained and inspected.
Which the state should fund since they're
Exactly.
All right, any questions?
This is not an increase from last year, though, at least the
It's
state.
like 1%.
Oh, it was? Oh, I thought it was the same. Okay. 1% increase.
Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.11, discussion and possible board action regarding a contract renewal for waste collection services with American Waste Control Incorporated with a 3% price increase for 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion, we approve 7.11.
Second.
I'll be
Not much to
increasing
say about the tax contract.
Yeah,
We
fuel
know
costs is gonna
costs have
cause
gone
it
up,
to go.
especially in any kind of transport, equipment, fuel, parts, everything's gone up, so it is somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, especially fuel.
You like the trash to go away every day.
All right, any discussion?
I will ask, when you go into Hots and you go by the tennis court, is there somewhere else we could put those 4 big giant, trash cans besides right there? You know what I'm talking
Short
about?
answer, yes.
Right there.
Yeah, we actually, Mickey and I have discussed changing locations of several of the dumpsters on campus. Not specifically those, but yes, we can look at different locations. We can place those where we want, but we also need them to be, in locations that are useful and accessible to our crews taking trash out.
Yeah.
Does the cleaning crews take the trash out?
Yes.
For $1 million, they're gonna walk away from
We'll raise our rates again.
Yeah, really.
All right. Any other discussion, concerns, thoughts? All right, call for vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.12, discussion of possible board action regarding a contract with True Green Commercial for lawn treatment at a cost of $19,249.27 for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion to approve 7.12.
Second.
This represents about a 6% increase from last year. It was $18,074. Just to treat all of our front areas.
Put that in perspective, they have not increased our rate in the last, I believe, 3 years. And I think the situation with this was corporate noticed that and told our salesmen that we need to have a little, increase. So, of course, their costs have gone up as well. They have equipment, they have vehicles, they have fuel, but they've done a really good job. They're reliable. We don't have to chase them down. They are here when they're supposed to be. They treat the areas, and it does reduce the amount of mowing that we have to do, and it improves the look of the campus because it eliminates those fast-growing weeds.
Yeah, just remember back 3 or 4 years ago with enough clover and
You done a
weeds and
tremendous
everything
job on
else.
it. Everything looks
Much
good.
better.
All of our sites look good.
All right, any other questions? Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.13, discussion of possible board action to approve a contract with Jarvis Incorporated for security services at a cost of $25.84 per hour or $38.76 per hour on recognized holidays for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Make a motion, we approve 7.13.
Second.
These are slight increases. The year before it was $25.09 per hour and $37.64 for vacation times. So, just like everything else that we've talked about today, just some slight increases to cover increased costs. We did check with Stephen Scott, who kind of monitors the work of these, and they keep very detailed logs of where these security officers are during the day and how they check on buildings and all that, so they are being held accountable for making their rounds and checking the things, responding to alarms, all that kind of stuff.
So midnight to 6 a.m. is their coverage, is that right? Have I,
Yes.
okay.
Correct.
I was
And
making
that's
sure I read that.
Is this the same company that was on duty when that guy broke in and tried on all the uniforms? Yes.
I believe it was, yes.
Catch 'em all.
It's, can't be everywhere all the time.
All right, any other discussions? Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.14, discussion of possible board action regarding the contract with Tunnel Rat for mole and gopher extermination services at a cost of $1,592.00 per month for the 2023-2024 fiscal year.
Board members, if you haven't noticed, we've got a mole and gopher problem in Bixby. We really do.
Is this covered goats?
Does not cover goats as far as I know. I imagine the gophers at the high school are very upset because we've taken a lot of their land. I don't know where they're moving to, somewhere else. So do you have anything more to say on our gopher and mole problem, Gabe?
That it still exists. They improve the look of our campus a great deal. They keep them pushed away. And we have noticed as they move from spot to spot, taking care of the gophers, it's not long before they try to move, the gophers try to move back in. So it is something we really need to continue, to keep our campus looking good and without having holes in the ground and a lot of damage that they can do.
Is that 12 months a year that we have them? 12 months, very good.
Yeah, you can't take a break, they just go right back.
They love the soil here. It's just really perfect for.
Speaking of roads, Central, are we all good on Central?
Central
Road
Intermediate.
Control?
We are continuing at
Yeah.
Central Intermediate, yeah.
We'll probably have
It'll
to
never
continue.
be completely gone, but it's something we have to stay on top of, and they are doing that.
Their
The situation
resistance.
has improved.
The situation has improved greatly.
We're building houses, more houses across the street, so.
Right, they're
get
running
less
out all the
field.
field mice.
Yeah.
Running them right across the street.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know if I made a motion. Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve 7.14 for a cost of $1,592.00 per month for 2023 to 2024.
Second.
Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.15, discussion and possible board action regarding activity fundraisers for the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
Okay, we can click on each of those links. Now, this is, Dwayne Patterson puts this together every year. He reaches out to all of our different groups and athletics, and this is their fundraiser list. If you wanted to look at one, you can see what they look like, but this is a good practice because it prevents redundancy, so that we can kind of monitor what different organizations are using this money, make sure that different groups aren't selling cookie dough the same week, and that all of their fundraisers are guidelines with our policy and things like that. So
Are
pretty
these-
extensive list.
These years correct? This says
No, it's
2022.
23, 24.
Okay.
What says that?
Wow,
Yeah, the attachment shows the right one, it's 23.
So I make a motion, we approve 7.15 for, activity fundraisers for the 2023-2024 fiscal year.
Second.
Good catch.
Call for a vote, or any discussion? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.16, discussion and possible board action regarding declaring items as surplus to be disposed of in accordance to the state laws of Oklahoma. I make a motion, we approve 7.16.
Second.
Discussion.
That's hard to read. That's West Media, books.
Books.
It always bumps up
And are
for
we-
some reason.
Are we listing these books we're removing? Are we listing them or not? Just that, I mean, they're coming off the list, like, I guess we provide books, list of books in our library, correct? Like anybody, a parent could come and look, so once these are removed, they're taken, like.
Out of desk. They're not
Okay,
on that.
got it. Yeah, correct.
Any questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We're gonna jump down to 8.3. 8.3, discussion and possible board action regarding the assignment of Tim Holt as an adjunct teacher in the area of government to teach government class for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion we approve 8.3.
Second.
It happens every year. He's got multitude of history and social studies certs, but he doesn't have government, and if we need him to teach a government class, and he's done
done
it
it for
before,
years.
he's definitely got the expertise to teach it.
That's Coach Holt from football?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Any questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 8.4, discussion of possible action regarding an agreement with Red Rover for time and attendance services at a cost of $15,861.00 for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I make a motion we approve 8.4.
Second.
Surprised there wasn't a chuckle with the Red Rover, because that's the name of the company.
That is the name, the actual name. So we use a company right now with ESS, our sub-provider, called Frontline. Frontline is where our staff enters their absences. We've worked with ESS on Frontline, and Frontline's not a very user-friendly, effective service provider, so ESS is switching to Red Rover. We don't pay for that, that's a separate piece that will happen through ESS regardless. But Mike and I have worked with the HR team to look at electronic time and attendance, so that you just use the app on your phone to clock in, app on your phone to clock out, and we don't have to do time cards and people sitting by a time clock anymore. And this company also provides that service. We were waiting and hoping that Wingate might do that, but they still haven't, how many years down the road?
And would this just
So-
be, would be for hourly employees to clock in and out?
And extra duty.
Extra duties, okay.
So those are two things that we still do, believe it or not, by paper. We clock in with time cards and we use time sheets for extra duty. And this will make it electronic with an app.
So does this set up a mile radius within the building of when you can clock in and out?
There's a geo fence, of some kind. This is a concept Jamie loves, that's why I look at her. There is a geo fence so that you have to be within a certain parameter at that work site to clock in at that work site.
Clock in from home.
Yeah, we do that. A geo fence.
All right, any other discussion? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 8.5, discussion of possible board action to approve any resignations submitted after the agenda was posted.
I believe we have one that we received this afternoon.
Yes, well, we received it shortly after the agenda was ready, and it's Linda Hayes from West Elementary, 3rd grade.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve 8.5, the resignation of Linda Hayes.
Second.
Any questions? Call for a vote, Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 9, new business.
Yes, sir.
10, vote to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Call for a vote. Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.